Morning mist hangs heavy over the suburban streets of Houston. At 7 a.m., our day begins at the Parker household. Standing in the kitchen, I smile at the aroma of a bagel popping from the toaster. Cinnamon, Jacob's favorite. On the sideboard, 3 glasses of freshly poured orange juice shimmer in the morning light. "Jacob, are you up?" I call upstairs, and his response comes quickly. "Yes. Already in my uniform." Stephen, my husband, is at the dining table reading the morning paper as usual. Next to him lies a stack of documents for a board meeting at his construction company. He must be handling a major project, as he's been working from early morning until late at night these past few weeks. "Mom, I can't tie my tie." Jacob comes running into the kitchen, his navy blue tie dangling from his neck. Though I see him every morning in his St. Joseph's Elementary School uniform, the sight still fills me with love. "Come here," I say, quickly tying his tie while catching a glimpse of Stephen's blue eyes in our son's face. His height surprising for a 10-year-old, his refined features, his father's genes are certainly flourishing in our son. "What classes do you have today?" Stephen unusually asks our son during breakfast. "We're doing a science experiment. We're going to recreate a volcanic eruption." Jacob's eyes sparkle. My husband and I secretly support our son's dream of becoming a scientist. After breakfast, our respective days begin. Stephen heads to an important client meeting, while I make my way to the advertising agency in the J.P. Morgan Chase Tower downtown. On my office desk sits a family photo taken last Christmas, the 3 of us smiling in front of the church. Colleagues sometimes call me the ideal working mom, but to me, I'm simply giving my all for the family I love. Over the past 5 years, my successful corporate campaigns have earned me a position of trust as a central figure in the department. On weekends, my sister Ashley visits. Married for 3 years and undergoing fertility treatments, she shows special affection for her nephew Jacob. Just last week during our backyard barbecue, Ashley was playing catch with Jacob, her smile as bright as a young girl's. While helping with cleanup, Ashley quietly confided, the treatment didn't work again. Her voice trembling. As her sister, I understand her pain all too well. Seeing tears well up in her green eyes, I held her tight. "It's okay, Ashley. You have us," I comfort her while gently stroking her brown hair. Surely, God knows the perfect timing. Walking home from church on Sunday, autumn sunlight streaming down on Stephen, Jacob, Ashley, and me, I believed this everyday happiness would last forever. That day too began like any other morning. Autumn sunlight streams through the kitchen window, softly illuminating the white counter. While preparing Jacob's breakfast cereal, I mentally organized today's schedule. Client presentation at 2 p.m. If this proposal goes through, we'll definitely achieve this quarter's sales target. "Mom, look at my homework." Jacob runs into the kitchen, holding up his math worksheet. He had worked hard on these problems until late last night. Red circles marking correct answers shine at the top of the page. "That's wonderful." I smile while patting his head. "You'll do fine on tomorrow's math test too." "Tomorrow?" For a moment, I thought I saw Jacob's expression cloud over. But perhaps that was just my imagination. He quickly showed his usual bright smile and responded energetically, "I'll definitely get a perfect score." Stephen had already left for an early morning meeting. Lately, he's been coming home late and leaving early. Though I feel a bit lonely despite understanding it's for a major project, I'm proud of my husband's dedication, being equally committed to my own work. I'm heading out. Jacob shoulders his backpack and heads for the door. Be careful. You have basketball practice today, right? Yes. It ends at 4. Then I'll pick you up around 4:15 as usual. Watching my son's tall figure walk away, I felt something was off. But at that moment, I couldn't identify what it was. On the commuter train, I review the presentation materials one last time. A nationwide campaign launch for a new makeup brand. The key point is our innovative approach targeting young women. Still, Jacob's morning expression occasionally crosses my mind. Arriving at the office, I immediately begin the final presentation check. Each page of the proposal contains ideas we've refined over 3 months. The project received high praise during internal previews. I should be able to present with confidence. At exactly 2 p.m., the clients enter the conference room. Taking a deep breath, I begin the presentation. With each slide transition, the client's expressions brighten. The Q&A session proceeds smoothly. Linda, this proposal is truly outstanding. Senior Director Janet pats my shoulder after the presentation. The client response was excellent. High chance we'll get the contract. Breathing a sigh of relief, I return to my desk. Looking at our family photo, Jacob's smile gazes back at me. As I reach for the next presentation materials in my desk drawer, I notice my watch shows 4 o'clock. Hastily stuffing documents into my bag, I leave the office. While entering the elevator, I check emails on my smartphone. No messages from Stephen. He's been out of touch during the day lately. Though I understand he's busy. Parking in front of St. Joseph's Elementary School's main gate, the autumn twilight dyes the schoolyard maples red. Children emerge one after another from the basketball court after practice. But strangely, Jacob is nowhere to be seen. Mrs. Parker, I turn at the voice to find Mrs. Brown standing there with a concerned expression. She's known for her gentle personality. Jacob was absent yesterday, was everything all right? The moment I heard those words, something froze inside me. What? But yesterday, he shouldn't have been absent. I hear my voice echoing distantly, as if someone else's. He's definitely marked absent. Mrs. Brown's voice seems to grow distant. My mind goes blank, thoughts stopping. The schoolyard maples suddenly appear too vividly red. Excuse me, let me check. Hurriedly taking out my cell phone, I dial Jacob's number. But only the call tone rings emptily, with no answer from my son. I try to leave a message, but my trembling fingers slide across the screen. Eventually, Jacob emerges from the court. Approaching with his usual expression, wiping sweat away. Sorry, Mom. I was in the shower, so I couldn't answer the phone. My anxiety temporarily eases at my son's casual words. But deep down, something still bothered me. As I tried to confirm yesterday's events while looking at my son's profile in the car, Jacob quickly turned up the radio volume. That evening, I brought it up at dinner. On the table, I had laid out Stephen's favorite meatloaf and Jacob's preferred macaroni salad. Trying to maintain the usual dining atmosphere, I spoke in as natural a voice as possible. Jacob, can you tell me about school yesterday? Huh? It was normal, Jacob answered without stopping his chopsticks. But the teacher said you were absent. That's wrong. I definitely went. My son's eyes seemed to avoid my gaze. He didn't mention any school events, which he usually talks about during meals. Stephen, what do you think? When I turned to my husband, he answered without looking up from his newspaper. Linda, aren't you worrying too much? It might be a mistake in the school records. We can check tomorrow. But I knew. This wasn't just a record mistake. A mother's intuition was telling me something serious had happened. After dinner, Jacob retreated to his room unusually early. Even though his homework wasn't finished, he strangely ignored my calls. Faint music could be heard from behind his room door. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't close my eyes. Music still faintly drifts from my son's room. Usually, I would tell him to turn it off at bedtime, but tonight I lacked the courage to call out. After that conversation, Jacob withdrew to his room earlier than usual. He left dinner unfinished and was careless with his homework. Hey, Stephen, I call to my husband breathing beside me. But there's no response. Again tonight, he came home late and fell asleep as soon as he showered. Recently, his family time has drastically decreased. I understand it's a crucial period as the construction company's manager. But it's at times like these that I need my husband's presence. Staring at tree shadows on the ceiling, I recall yesterday morning. I definitely saw Jacob off. In his usual uniform, with his usual smile. But within that usual, there was clearly something off. What it was, I still can't grasp. The bedside alarm clock shows 2 a.m. I have an important business meeting tomorrow. I need to sleep. Yet despite these thoughts, my mind remains clear, as if my body is sending a warning. I look at the family photo on the dresser. Taken last Christmas at church. Jacob's smile, Stephen's proud expression, and me. A perfect family photo. Yet somehow, I can't shake the feeling that something essential is missing from that perfection. The night deepens. Moonlight visible from the bedroom window gradually hides behind clouds. A dark cloud of anxiety spreads through my heart as well. A mother's instinct warns that something terrible is about to happen. In the quiet darkness of night, that warning gradually grew louder. Tomorrow, I'll check with the school again. Talk in detail with Mrs. Brown. And above all, observe Jacob more carefully. Perhaps I've been demanding too much perfection as a working mother. Maybe I've missed subtle changes in my son. But it's not too late. I have a responsibility as a mother. I will definitely uncover the truth behind this unease. I was already awake before the alarm clock rang. Morning light streaming through gaps in the curtains creates thin bands of light in the still dark bedroom. Beside me, Stephen shows no signs of rising earlier than usual. Quietly slipping out of bed, I open the closet. Instead of my usual suit, I choose a casual navy dress. Minimal makeup. An appearance that won't stand out but won't seem unnatural. Today I'll finally execute the plan I've been considering since last night. While preparing breakfast in the kitchen, I pick up my smartphone. Janet? I'm sorry, but could I take today off? Yes. I'm not feeling well. Right, tired from yesterday's presentation too. Thank you. I don't like lying. But it was a necessary choice now. I hear Jacob's footsteps coming down the stairs. A bit heavier than usual. My son, who stayed shut in his room last night, still appears listless this morning. Good morning, Mom. Good morning. Did you sleep well? My son only nods slightly instead of answering. He meaninglessly stirs his cereal with his spoon. Today, breakfast ends with half remaining, when usually he would ask for seconds. I'm going now. Be careful. Watching my son's back as he heads to the door, my heart begins to race. Following him immediately was my decision as a mother. In my bag, just driver's license, cash, and cell phone. Only the bare essentials packed. Before pulling the car out of the garage, I check my cell phone again. GPS tracking enabled, emergency contacts confirmed. One deep breath. The prayer, "God, please let my decision be right," naturally escapes my lips. Waiting about 5 minutes after my son started walking, I start the engine. Taking back roads I usually don't use, I move the car to the next street over. Having lived in this suburban area for 15 years, knowing every road proves fortunate now. I spot Jacob, walking his usual route to school. From behind, he looks like any ordinary elementary school boy with his backpack. But his gait seems somehow awkward. The occasional glance backward is unlike his usual self. Leaving the route to St. Joseph's Elementary, Jacob begins walking north. Entering an unfamiliar residential area. Many undeveloped lots, with wide spaces between buildings. Whether unfamiliar with the road or not, he stops several times to check his smartphone. My hands grip the steering wheel tight. My cell phone on the passenger seat occasionally vibrates. Surely work contacts. Perhaps questions from the client following yesterday's presentation. Work that seemed so important now feels like someone else's concern, far away. Checking the screen briefly, I see 3 missed calls from Janet, 5 emails. And at the bottom, a message from Stephen, "Important meeting, will be late. Don't need dinner." My hands tremble. I already know where my husband's meeting will take place. But I have no time to think about such things now. I can't lose sight of my son. His small back is still visible ahead. My heart pounds with each turn signal. I must not be noticed by my son. But I can't lose him either. After proceeding about 15 more minutes, we emerge onto a main road. Unlike the usually quiet residential area, traffic is heavy. Along that road appears a motel with a faded pink sign. Budget Inn. A shabby 2-story building. It can't be. My heartbeat grows even more intense. My son enters the motel parking lot without hesitation. I park some distance away and watch his movements. He climbs the stairs and stops in front of a second-floor room. At that moment, I notice a familiar car entering the parking lot. A metallic gray BMW. My husband's car. My breathing stops. Why? Stephen. As overwhelming feelings well up inside me, another car pulls in. A white Lexus. My sister Ashley's car. My hands are shaking. Even trying to take my cell phone from my handbag, my fingers won't move properly. The scene unfolding before me seemed like a bad joke. But this was undeniable reality. My son disappears into the room. Then my husband climbs the stairs. And finally, Ashley's figure. With her usual elegant gait, she ascends the stairs. My vision wavers. Whether from tears welling up or my body shaking with anger, I'm not sure. My hands tremble as I unfasten the seatbelt. My fingertips tremble as I check my driver's license in my wallet. The motel sign casts an eerie shadow in the morning sun. 3 cars parked in the lot. 3 figures who disappeared into a second-floor room. Everything felt unreal, yet cruelly real. God. A prayer escapes my lips again. But this time, not yesterday's plea. A prayer of resolution for what's to come. As a mother, as a wife, as a sister. I take my handbag and exit the car. My legs shake. My shadow on the asphalt seems to waver as if someone else's. Old air conditioning units are carelessly attached to the motel's exterior walls, water dripping from somewhere. As one drop trails down my cheek, I can't distinguish whether it's a tear or just water. Why are my precious family members gathering in such a place? Various possibilities race through my mind. But every imagination seems better than reality. A mother's intuition warned of the worst situation. I place my foot on the first step. The metal handrail is rusted, peeling in places. 14 steps leading to the second floor. I realized each step would change my life. Looking back. 3 family cars in the parking lot. Stephen's BMW, Ashley's Lexus, and my Volvo. All cars symbolizing middle-class happiness. But now, even their shine seems hollow. One step, then another. Each time my heels strike metal, the sound echoes. That sound felt like a countdown clock ticking toward what was about to happen. Reaching the final step, a long hallway stretches before me. Under dim lighting, green carpet extends to rooms on both sides. Room 208, where they disappeared, is at the hallway's end. There's no turning back now. I knew this would be a turning point in my life. But I can't turn away from the truth. As a mother, there are things I must confirm. Step by step, I begin walking toward that door with sure footsteps. I must confirm the truth with my own eyes. Even if it will dramatically change my life. The short distance to the hallway's end felt like an eternity. But simultaneously, it was like a final grace period to bid farewell to our happy days thus far. In front of room 208, I took a deep breath. From beyond the door, I faintly hear voices. Familiar voices. My husband's voice of 15 years. And Ashley's voice, and Jacob's voice. A brown stain spreads across the floor in front of the door. Perhaps spilled coffee. Staring at that stain, I steel my final resolve. My hand hesitates to knock, still trembling slightly. Mom. The moment I hear Jacob's voice, my fist was already striking the door. Once, twice, 3 times. The sound of hitting the hard wooden door echoes through the hallway. A moment of silence. Then, slowly, the door opens. Stephen's blue eyes are wide with surprise. Behind him, Ashley stands frozen. Her green eyes show fear. Jacob remains seated on the sofa in the corner of the room, motionless. What is the meaning of this? My voice sounds calmer than I had imagined. Linda, I can explain. Stephen tries to step forward, but I stop him with my palm held up. How could this possibly be explained? I step into the room. A faint smell of disinfectant wafts from the worn carpet. By the window, an old air conditioner hums, sending cold air into the dimly lit room. 2 beds. Both neatly made, with crisp folds in the sheets. Seeing this makes my stomach clench. This cleanliness tells the story of their frequent visits here. On the table lies Jacob's math notebook open, with his science textbook beside it. Colorful pens peek out from his pencil case. Though staged to look like a legitimate tutoring session, there is no innocence in this situation. The air is heavy with sinful tension. A cheap abstract painting hangs on the wall, next to a clock showing 11:15. A time when he should have been in school classes. Jacob's backpack thrown carelessly in the corner of the room further emphasizes the abnormality of this place. Jacob, come here. My son stands without hesitation and moves behind me. At that moment, Ashley moves. Wait, sis. I wanted a child. Ashley's voice trembles. You had everything. Something snapped inside me at those words. Using my son, you're both despicable. My voice, mixed with anger and sadness, echoes in the room. 3 years. Ashley collapses to her knees on the floor. 3 years of treatment, but I couldn't have children. Her confession continues painfully. Mental breakdown after fertility treatments. A twisted obsession with her sister's happy family. And the abnormal expression of affection towards her nephew. Stephen understood. Her voice grows faint. My feelings. Understood. I stare at my husband. You and my sister, and even involving my son. Linda, calm down, Stephen raises both hands. This is, because Ashley was suffering. So what? My voice rises. That makes it okay to use my son. Taking him out of school, bringing him to a place like this. My arm tightens around my son's shoulders. Jacob is trembling slightly. I know everything. Yesterday's absence, the recent changes in his behavior. While gently stroking my son's head, I continued. Jacob, you've done nothing wrong. The adults led you in the wrong direction. Mom. My son's voice trembles. His small body sways slightly in my arms. In all my years of parenting, I've never felt such heartache. Stephen takes a step forward. His tie is loosened, his usually perfectly groomed blonde hair disheveled. Dark circles show under his eyes. Like signs of the weight of sin from the man who had been pretending to be at company meetings. Linda, let's talk this through, he spreads his hands, his voice pleading. We're family, we've been together for 15 years. Those words froze something inside me. 15 years. Indeed, we had nurtured this family as husband and wife for 15 years. Made vows in church, trusted and loved each other. All of that was about to crumble into ugly lies in this filthy motel room. Family. I wore a sardonic smile. You are no longer my husband. Those words echo in the room like a heavy hammer. I'm filing for divorce immediately. I'll contact a lawyer today. Ashley lets out a sob. Stephen stands frozen, lost for words. Let's go, Jacob. Taking my son's hand, I headed for the door. At that moment, Ashley crawled toward us. Sis, forgive me. I. Ashley's voice takes on a hysterical tone. I just wanted a child, why am I the only one who? At those words, I stopped. Slowly turning to look at my sister's face. Her makeup smeared, eyes bloodshot, expensive blouse wrinkled from kneeling on the floor. Yet I felt no pity for that sight. You wanted a child, My voice was cold as ice. So you tried to destroy your sister's son. The blood drains from Ashley's face. Stephen remains rigid like a statue. This is a crime. Do you understand? My precious son, in a place like this. My words catch. Bringing him to such a place. Without looking back, I opened the door. As I stepped into the hallway, Stephen's voice follows from behind. Linda. Wait. I didn't answer. I just held my son's hand tightly and headed for the stairs. Behind us, Ashley's crying echoes through the hallway. My sister, once as close as a best friend. How many times had I listened to and encouraged her through the hardships of fertility treatment, trying to understand. But now, her voice sounds like a distant foreign language. My steps were far more certain than when I came. Not from anger. From the unwavering conviction that I was making the right choice as a mother. Down the stairs, one step at a time. The metal stairs sharply echo our footsteps. That sound rang like a bell announcing our departure from our previous life. The sky is strangely blue. The morning sun streaming into the parking lot is dazzlingly bright. As if emerging from darkness into light. In that light, I felt I could see the possibility of a new life. Walking toward my parked car, I said to my son. Jacob, we're going to the hospital now. Then to the police. We need to tell them everything. You've done nothing wrong. We just need to tell the truth. My son nodded silently. His hand squeezes mine tightly in return. In that warmth, I feel our new bond. We spent 5 hours at the hospital. Doctor's examination, meetings with psychological counselors, and necessary tests. Jacob, exhausted, dozed off several times on the examination table. The police interview continued until late night, and my son fell completely asleep in the passenger seat. That night, we took refuge at a Hilton hotel run by a friend. I spent the night holding my son on an unfamiliar bed. 6 months have passed. The season was approaching spring. The first month was like being in a storm. Police investigation, meetings with lawyers, explaining to the company, and above all, sudden relocation. The days until we rented an apartment and started our new life were the most grueling period for us. Arranging movers, proceeding with transfer procedures in the new school district, furnishing with the bare necessities. Everything was hurried, and painfully real. Twice weekly psychological counseling began immediately after the incident. For the first few weeks, Jacob seemed to struggle even to speak. At night he was plagued by nightmares, and I rushed to my son's room nearly every night. How many nights did I spend holding my son who woke up with a pale face? Still, thanks to Dr. Watson's dedicated care, my son gradually healed his emotional wounds. Mrs. Parker, your son has remarkable resilience, the doctor's words encouraged me countless times. The police investigation proceeded swiftly. Stephen and Ashley were presented with evidence of their inappropriate conduct, and the matter was settled through mediation. I considered thorough legal measures but didn't want to put my son through any more suffering. The divorce proceedings were completed last month. Though child support payments from Stephen have begun, I avoid direct contact with him. I hear his construction company has lost major clients due to this scandal, and their performance has plummeted. I watch my former husband's decline with mixed feelings. Ashley, after divorcing her husband, reportedly moved near her parents' home in eastern Texas. Giving up on fertility treatments, she apparently helps at her parents' bookstore. Apology letters from my sister arrive almost weekly. They all sleep unopened in my study drawer. I still can't forgive, but I'm not trapped by hatred either. That's my current state of mind. Work brought an unexpected turning point. That day's presentation was highly evaluated, and I was promoted to creative director. The president nodded deeply at my words, because I'm a single mother, I'm stronger. In my new department, I lead a staff of 20. They all understand my situation and warmly support me. And now, on this Sunday morning, sunlight streaming through St. Joseph Church's stained glass creates colorful shadows on the floor. I sit next to my son, quietly listening to the sermon. I find a peaceful expression on Jacob's profile that I haven't seen in a long time. The pastor's words echo through the chapel. In these 6 months, my son has grown stronger. The emotional wounds won't heal easily. But his eyes no longer show the anxiety they once did. At school, he's made new friends, and his math grades remain top of the class. He still firmly holds onto his dream of becoming a scientist. During the recent Parent Observation Day, tears welled up at his animated expression during the science experiment. After the service, stepping into the church courtyard, pale pink petals dance in the spring breeze. "Mom, it's beautiful," Jacob catches the falling petals in his palm. "Yes, it is," I held my son's hand. Though small, there's a firm grip in return. In this warmth, I feel our new bond. We walked slowly. This small path circling the church grounds felt symbolic of our new life's beginning. "Did you understand today's sermon?" I ask my son as we walk. "Yes. God doesn't give us trials we can't overcome, right?" "That's right. That's why we're here now." Still holding my son's hand, I looked up at the sky. Spring clouds drift slowly by. Beyond them, I believe God is watching over us. There will surely be more difficulties ahead. I know the path of living as a single mother won't be smooth. But I'm no longer afraid. The most important thing I learned in these 6 months was the meaning of living strongly as a mother. And that strength could never have been gained alone. My son's presence, the kindness of supporting people, and faith. All of these guide us. Jacob begins humming a hymn again. The church bells ring out into the spring sky. Our new life is certainly here. And for us, mother and son, it was an invaluable, precious step forward.